What's up, guys? So is this gonna become a thing? Because it's late night again and I'm just sitting here chilling in my PJs. So I was pretty damn tired. I was like, so I made myself a little bed right here and I'm just like, been out all day. Hell to the no. Ow. Punk. So let's all just chillax. You know, go get like a cup of tea or some hot chocolate, some cereal, and just chill. So let's talk about Dragon Age Descent. I forgot to mention that these are going to be spoiler free in the beginning, and then I'm going to give a spoiler warning like towards the middle or whatever when I'm going to start talking about the story, so that you guys that haven't played it and you're wondering if you should and all that, you could still watch this, but just make sure that when I say okay it's spoiler time, you guys just close off the video. So stupid audio is not recording, is it? Frickin' A. So let me start off by saying that The Descent was my favorite out of the two. Out of Jaws of Hakon and The Descent. The Descent was just... There was just so much to it. It was so much more than I had expected. Because I kept hearing everyone saying, oh, it's just a dungeon crawler. And I was like, really? Okay. You know, I was like, I have to play it, you know, because I have to play everything that comes out for it. But it totally is not just a dungeon crawler. Okay, it is a dungeon crawler. Definitely. You know, you go down the levels, they keep getting harder and harder and harder. And pretty much what you're doing is just fighting waves of enemies and enemies and more enemies. So many. It's so challenging. It gets you really need to go in there with the right party. Because if you don't go in there with, say, a mage, if you don't go in there with a mage, you're screwed. So you need a mage, you need a tank, and you need some heavy hitters because, oh my god, it gets freaking crazy. But I was having so much fun with it. I absolutely loved Descent. I'm not sure, I've been hearing that the enemies scale to you. So if you're a level 16, level 17, whatever, the enemies will be around your level, but still a challenge. I don't even remember what level I am. 25, 26 or something like that. And the enemies were like 27, 28. I mean, it wasn't like, I never had a game over or anything like that. So I was good. And I play on normal. But it was challenging, but it was so much fun. Not only was the challenge insane and fun, but it also had the new characters, Ren and Valta. Oh my god, I fell in love with them. I was like, oh my god, I totally shipped them. And then when Ren, the guy dwarf, when he freaking opens his mouth and starts talking, I was like, oh my god, that's David Hayter. I mean, he sounded just like Snake. And I was like, oh my god, my mind kind of blew up to hear Snake in a dwarf body. So that character was just, I fell in love with that character, Ren, and Valta was really adorable as well. Especially the interactions that they both had it was just so good. I love those two characters. So you get introduced to two awesome characters, and they go with you. They're with you the whole time. You get a lot of new equipment. Some very powerful schematics. You make a lot of money. I made so much gold because all of the stuff that I was finding. And the cool thing is that there's a shop there in one of the camps, the very first camp that you make. There's a shop there where you could buy materials, so you could sell everything that you get. So if you become over encumbered, you know, where your inventory gets full, because you're gonna get a lot of stuff. You're gonna be finding a lot of stuff. There's six sections that you go. You go all the way down to the sixth section, and each level has a difficulty level. Although it started off hard. It started off hard from the very beginning. From the very very beginning. I mean, you literally just entered the deep roads. You didn't even go down yet. Like, you didn't even go fully down. And there was already an ogre right there. And you're like, I believe this was the first time we fought an ogre in Dragon Age Inquisition. And oh my god, they're hefty things. They take forever to kill. And they will pound on your tank. I mean, like, literally pound. But yeah, if you're like in level 4, section 4, and you're over encumbered and you're like, shoot, what do I do now? You could just fast travel back to your camp on level 1, sell the stuff, and then go right back. Fast travel. Because they've got every location has a fast travel, which is really good. If it's not a camp, it's a fast travel, the little star where you could fast travel. So you could always move around easily. You get new armor. It's just it's really, I think it's worth it, especially to prepare for Trespasser. You're going in with new stuff. You're not with old stuff in a new DLC. You're going in with new stuff, so that you feel like you're prepared for what's to come. Before Descent, I would definitely 100% recommend that you play Jaws of Hakon first. Jaws of Hakon gives you that ability. I think it's called Aegis? I forgot what it's called, but it's that shield ability. The dome from the Fade. That ability is going to come so much in handy. Someone was telling me when I first started it, they were like, oh my god, you're going to need that you're going to use that a lot. I was like, I haven't really used it that much. I'm just like staying in Blackwell's protective circle, whatever. But then I was like, oh my god, it does so much damage. It does so much damage to like ranged attackers. If they're attacking you and they're hitting you through that dome, everything goes back to them. So it's a must. That ability it just comes so much in handy. So definitely do Hakon first and then the Descent. I started off with like 60,000 gold, I think, and I ended with like almost 300,000. I kid you not. I was like around 260,000, I think, at the end. And this was all through stuff that I was selling, because I don't use a lot of the things. My equipment comes from crafting and not so much from what I find. But aside from all this dungeon crawly stuff, the story is something you do not want to miss. So the story is it's interwoven into, the bigger part is the whole fighting through these waves, but it's interwoven in there enough for you to want to know what's going on, for you to want to know more. And when you find out, you're like, because I honestly think that this DLC is setting up the next Dragon Age game. This is where you kind of get an idea of what they're going to go for in the next Dragon Age game, because there's going to be another one. Very much in the future, obviously. Like, this is just something that's floating in the air. It's kind of like BioWare just threw an idea out there, and you're like... So that's why I really recommend it, because of that. Because it's just so... It's so big. It's so important. At least that's what I think so. So that's why when people are like, it's just a dungeon crawler. I'm like, do not say that. You're doing it such a disservice by saying that, because a lot of people aren't going to get it, or they're not going to experience this story. They're not going to experience what's going on here because it's being labeled as just a dungeon crawler. So that's my recommendation. This is solely my opinion. But I had a lot of fun with it. It all depends on the type of gamer that you are when it comes to Dragon Age, the type of fan, as I always say. But if you like a challenge, if you want new gear and all that, and you really want to know the possible future of Dragon Age and the doors it might be opening, then this is definitely the one to play. And this one was also $14.99. They also include this thing that's very much like the War Table. I don't remember what it was called, but it was like these deep roads operations, which was pretty cool. It's like a War Table where you just go and you do operations. It opens up even more exploration. It was a pretty big map. I did everything. And when I say I did everything. And it took me, I think it was a little bit shorter than Hakon. It depends on how much you struggle with the combat and all that. and how much you take looking around for things, because there's a lot of things that are pretty hidden, especially because it's dark. It's pretty dark around there, so you can't see paths. Sometimes you have to like even platform where you have to jump on rocks and stuff. Do any of the operations, the map is a lot smaller. You don't get to do everything. So now let's talk spoilers. So for those of you that were watching for no spoilers, this is the moment to exit out of the video. So for all of you that are gonna leave, thank you so much for watching, and look forward to my Trespasser Let's Play. Okay, the story kind of blew me away, especially in the middle, like when the big reveal with the, what were they called? The Sharbertal? When they were just sitting there with freaking guns, like these rifles, I was like, it was crazy. It was freaking crazy to see that. It wasn't something that I didn't believe, especially since it shot lyrium. You look at the technology that the dwarves have made, even looking at Bianca, it's not like too far-fetched to imagine that they would do this. And also the end, when you read that operation, the last operation that shows up when you're done, I hope you guys read it on that little war table thingy. That's where I was like, oh my god, this is setting up the next Dragon Age. Do you remember when the Inquisitor told Valta, you used magic? And she's like, no, I just like, whatever, I pushed you away or whatever. Oh my god, what if in the next Dragon Age there's gonna be dwarves finally using magic? If you read that last operation, it says that Valta disappeared. Like nobody knows where she went, that she was gone. And she says that she felt really good and she felt better than she had ever felt. She was shot with lyrium, pretty much. Lyrium was in her body. And that's pretty much what happened to Ren. He got shot with lyrium. And in that operation, it says that Ren's his grave site was empty. I was like, with the lyrium, what if he healed up after time? Like, what if he healed up? Because Valta said that she felt perfect, like she felt fine. What if the Sharbertal were dead dwarves from the past and delirium revived them? I mean, because how have they been surviving for so long? Or most likely Valta went back for him. Like maybe she knew that he was going to be okay and she went and got him. And what if through Ren and Valta you get dwarves using magic? Like what if that's where it starts? It's like, oh my god, this is huge. This is huge. This is most likely the beginning of dwarves wielding magic. The whole revelation of the Titan, it reminded me a lot of stuff in Dragon Age Inquisition correlates, like the theme, the idea, with Mass Effect. And it doesn't surprise me because it's the same company. Like this reminded me a lot of what happened on Thessia with the Asari, where they find out that the Protheans were involved in the way that they were brought up or whatever. They were their religion, pretty much what they were, their beliefs. It was the Protheans and not the goddess or whatever. It was kind of the same idea where she's like, Valta was like, oh my god, this changes everything. If it was the Titan that formed the stone. It's not the stone. It's kind of like what came before, the chicken or the egg. It's not the stone that really formed everything. It was the Titan. It was so creepy when you first get to that level where you're already farther in, and you could just see like the blue eyes, and then they would like disappear and like move away, and I was like, oh my god, that was so creepy. That's one thing that I really liked about this DLC was the ambience, the way that it felt, this mystery, because we've been in the Deep Roads so many times. We were there in Origins, we were there in Dragon Age 2, and I was kind of like, the Deep Roads, I'm not that big of a fan, because it was like a freaking Darkspawn, dude. But I didn't feel that. when I was playing this, because it was presenting something new. We were seeing it a different way. We were accompanied by those two dwarves, and they were telling stories, which is really cool. And it was just this. There was just this mystery, a different type of mystery, a different way of seeing the deep roads, which was really cool, which made everything so much newer to me. Like it didn't make me feel like, oh, deep roads. That one level with the freaking burning room, I was like, this is not happening. Am I glitched? Are these things ever gonna stop coming at me? I fought like how many freaking emissaries? Like maybe 10 emissaries. That's why you need either a Templar or a mage. You definitely want to have a mage. I would have a Templar in your group as well because of the focus ability, giving everyone guard. That would make this DLC so much easier. But you need the dispel ability. Someone was telling me, like, take someone with dispel. All my mages have dispel, so whatever. But yeah, you want dispel because you're gonna get freaking bombarded by emissaries and revenants. It's like, oh my god, you guys need to stop. One time I walk into this room and I see an ogre and another ogre behind it, and I was like, no. So I target the first ogre, and it comes over. I taunt it so it comes over to us into the room, and the other ogre is staying over there, and I was like, perfect, we just stay here and the other ogre isn't aggroed yet. No, it came. Later it starts coming and I'm like, no. So 2 ogres were pounding on us at the same time, and then all of a sudden an emissary comes out of nowhere, and I'm like, dude, could you say overkill? Like, seriously. And then you kill that emissary and another emissary comes out, and then you kill that emissary and I think another one comes out, and to top it off, a bunch of genlocks or genlocks, and then a revenant comes out, and I'm like, oh my god. That was an epic fight, though. That was fun. I didn't die. We held our ground because Blackwall's just a freaking, he's an amazing tank. In my party, he's pretty much a wall. His guard does not drop, and if it does, he'll regain it right back. It's really hard to kill Blackwall, and he keeps hate very well. Like, he'll keep a lot of enemies on him because I have him constantly taunting. And a lot of things that he uses generate more threat. So he keeps a lot of that hate, of that heavy hitting on him because he could take it. And I have ranged a mage, myself, an archer, and Varric. We just like pound on the things. So we're usually full health unless the freaking AI, which it always does, the AI for Varric and Dorian decides to put them in the heat of it all, like right there where Blackwall is, then they're gonna get hit. They're gonna start losing health. But if I could control the freaking AI like I could in Dragon Age 2, that wouldn't happen. But yeah, there was some epic fights there. The Nug King. Oh my god, I was laughing so hard. No, but I think my favorite thing about that was the Indiana Jones moment. I mean, come on. The Last Crusade moment where it says like only the believer could pass or something. And I was like, oh my god, this is not an Indiana Jones moment right now. In Indiana Jones in the Last Crusade, where he stands there and he puts out his foot and he goes like this, and he lands on an invisible bridge. It was the same thing. I was like, I've seen Indiana Jones. Oh my god, I'm gonna go for it. And I just go, bloop, and I land on a bridge, and I was like, oh, totally nerding out. I was like, oh my god, that is so cool. But then all the freaking nugs, that was so adorable. They're like all squeaking, and they're like a bunch of nugs. I could just imagine Lady Insanity in that part trying to roast all the nugs. She's a bad person. It was a nice touch after so much stress and so much fighting and just, oh my god, like, where you feel like you're gonna freaking die because there's so many enemies. It was nice to see that they put a lighthearted scene there, so that it could like lighten up the mood. I think the thing that I would have wanted more of would have been, and I mean, I understand the technical side of this. It's easy for us to say, why didn't they do this? Why didn't they do that? But then it's like, it would have taken, imagine how long it would have taken, especially what if they couldn't get the voice actors again, to come back to do more stuff for this DLC. So there's also that, like, maybe they couldn't get voice actors to return. But I would have loved to see more companion interactions when it comes to what's going on. Like I said, I took Varric, Dorian, and Blackwall, and I was like, Blackwall for sure is gonna have some stuff that he's gonna say. And he did say some stuff, like very few lines. So, I mean, maybe, I don't know, maybe it comes down to the voice actor's contract, to how much they're paying them, how much time they have them for, all that stuff. So they got some new stuff in there, but not a lot. Even Varric, I was like, Varric's gonna say something. He's gonna say a lot about this stuff, especially the Charbitral and all that. But he didn't really. He just reacted to some stuff. But Blackwall, I really would have loved him to say something, to talk about the Darkspawn, to say something about the Wardens. He pretty much just said, I always thought I was gonna die down here or something. That's pretty much all he says. He doesn't say anything else. I think he also says something about the ogre, like stay away from its reach or something. But that's it. And I was like, oh my god, that would have been a perfect opportunity. And I'm wondering, for those of you that know, let me know in the comments down below. Does Blackwall say anything pertaining to the Wardens if he's still pretending to be, like, before the reveal, his Tom Rainier reveal? Does he say anything even then? Like, does he say anything about? Do you ask him anything about the Darkspawn? If not, that's a real shame, because that could have been perfect. That could have been so perfect, especially pre-reveal, pre-Rainier. Would have made him so nervous. Like, oh my god, shoot. Something really, really small, but that I absolutely adored, and I would have loved to see more of this in the game. And I don't know why they don't do it. I think moments like that really help when it comes to the immersion, and really help to set the feeling of being in a group and being with your party members in whatever location, in a dangerous location, in a dark location, in a place like the Deep Roads, especially when you're further into the Deep Roads and you don't even know what is there. A moment where it just takes where a scene, a cinematic, whatever, and it just shows you your party just downtime, and they did that for the very first time. They've never done something like this, and I was like, oh my god, I would have loved to see this in the game, like more of this. When I heard that there was going to be camps in Dragon Age Inquisition, because in Dragon Age Origins there was that one camp, but in Dragon Age Inquisition, I was like, awesome, we're going to be able to use it as a camp. You could, like, in Dragon Age Origins there was scenes where you could see yourself laying down, and Alistair, he's like sitting there as well, and he tells you that you had a nightmare or whatever. So stuff like that. And there was something very short in this one where it shows, like, right before, it was actually the 5th level, I think, before, right, the camp that you made right before you went into that shrine place, the waterfall place. Last camp where it was just you guys, and it showed a cinematic, very short, of your party. Blackwall, for me, Blackwall was like laying on his bed thingy. He was just like laying down like that on his elbow. Dorian was like standing at the fire and just like, I guess warming his arm or his hands. And Varric was also chilling right there. And that moment, I was like, it was so perfect for me. It was so special. I was like, that's what I want to see. I want to see my party just sit there. You know, just like taking downtime, because it makes, I mean, it wouldn't even take that much. Just like quick cinematic of like Blackwall like wrapping his arm or something, you know, because he like hurt it or something like that. That, see, stuff like that, it just like, why would you want to see that? You know, it's like so stupid. It's so small, so pointless. But for me, I don't know how you guys feel about that, but for me, it's just, it adds to the feeling of you fighting with a group and you guys being more than your party members, being more than just followers. There's so much more. They're characters. That little scene was one of my favorites. It's so crazy to think. It just added so much to the moment, especially that moment, because this is it. You know, you're going and it's all dark there and they're just like taking a downtime. Like they're just like, okay, we gotta rest up for a little bit. So I wish they did that more. I said this before. I feel like they're my friends, you know? Like I want to interact like with them like that. You know, if there's something like really mysterious and scary going on and it's like I don't even know what's going on here, I would like a moment to just see them sit together and be worried together, you know, be like, this is it, you know, it's coming. Even if they didn't say anything, just like a quick cinematic like that, like they did in Descent. Quick cinematic of them just sitting there and even just like looking at each other. That would say it. That would say so much right there. It would say so much. You would see the worry in their eyes or whatever. Because without those moments, it's like, of course I'm gonna come back. You know, I'm not gonna freaking die. It's not like I'm never gonna come back. You know I'm gonna finish this. You know, like you know you're gonna finish it. You're like, okay, I'll be right back, guys. So adding that sense of like, you know, adding that top layer of showing you, even though you are gonna make it, even though you are gonna come back, you're gonna finish it. It's not like you're gonna die. They remind you that it's not just the game. You know what I mean? Like without those little moments, without those reminders of these are characters. These aren't just the mage, the tank, and you know, that's not what they are. They're characters and they look tired and they look worried. It's important to remind the player so that they don't get bored. You know, knowing that, okay, whatever, I'm gonna make it. I'm gonna go back. Okay, come on, you know, just keep it coming. You know, I like when games remind you that, okay, yeah, you're in a dungeon crawler. You're gonna fight some more freaking crazy waves of enemies, but let's stop and take it in. That's pretty much what it is. Let's stop and take it all in. It's not just that. These are your characters. Look at them. They're tired, they're scared, they're worried. They want to go back home. Because even at the end, where Valta she said that she was going to stay. Dorian says, this is her decision. If she wants to stay, you can't do anything about it, but I want to see the sun again. See, that's where it's like, these characters, they want out. They want out of there. They're like, they've had so much. It's not just you. It's not just you that you know, you're not the only one. It's not just the player that has been through so many enemies. That's what those moments remind you of. That it's not just you as a player going through so many enemies and you're like, oh my god, I have to fight all these things. It's the characters. It's the characters as well, because they're tired. It's like you have to. I like being reminded that it's not like I forget that I'm playing. No, but I like being reminded that these characters almost feel that fight as well with you, where they're like, man, I'm freaking tired. That was so crazy. Or it's like, oh my god, we almost died. Or, you know, where it's like, oh man, where Dorian's like, I want to see the sun again. So that, I love those moments. And BioWare does that very well. They don't do it nearly enough, as much as I would like moments like that where you wouldn't even think twice about them. But those moments really, I really noticed those moments. So there aren't enough, in my opinion, enough moments like that. But BioWare, I think that's one of the things that I love about BioWare the most, is that they really focus on making you feel that your followers are characters. They feel what you're going through. They feel what the player is going through. Through banter, they talk about what they've been through. Through banter, they say what they think about things. So they're constantly reminding you that they're going along the journey with you, and they're feeling what you're feeling. You know what I mean? And not enough games do that. Definitely not enough games do that. You know, games where you have a follower, they're usually just there to support you. They don't do anything else. They're just there, and mostly for gameplay issues, and not so much story or character development. That was tiny, but again, it made me love. It just made me love that feeling that this DLC gave. Like I said, this is my opinion, and not everyone's gonna agree, but I think there's so much more there that probably some people may have missed, or is probably not even that important to some people. Maybe it's just important. Maybe some of the stuff was very important to me personally, but definitely the story does explore new paths that Dragon Age might take in the future. Let me know in the comments down below, if you've played it, what you thought of Descent, because I've seen mixed thoughts, and I really want to know what you guys think of what was presented. Not just the whole, oh, it's a dungeon crawler. I mean, when it comes to the story, like, do you guys think that this is important? Do you think this is opening the door to the next Dragon Age? That's pretty much it. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll talk to you guys later.